Yo guys, what's good? Welcome back to Tony Talks AI. In this video, we're going to talk about Claude Skills. So people think that, or some people think that Claude Skills is like a fancy saved prompts or like a template, but it's actually not quite accurate. So if that's not what a Claude Skills is, ano sila? So a Claude Skill is a reusable, self-contained package that teaches Claude to do one specific thing consistently, and it has instructions, context, and tools. Think of it like this: Claude MD is more of like your project guide or like project handbook na laging naka-on, while your Claude Skills is more of like an SOP na nandun yung instructions and you only call it when you need it. So why do Claude Skills exist? So, Claude Skills exist to solve a problem or a limitation that they have noticed in Claude MD. Si Claude kasi dati, para siyang matalinong bata na mapasaway, right? You tell it to do one thing, sometimes it does it, sometimes it don't, right? Sometimes nga ang layo pa. So to solve this problem, they created Claude MD para to reduce the drift. The challenge is, lahat tuloy sinisiksik na doon. Pati yung mga templates na or mga instructions na paulit-ulit nating sinasabi kay Claude. For example, hey Claude, root cause analysis this, or this is what I want you to do every time you do root cause analysis. Yung mga ganun, isinisiksik na rin doon sa Claude MD. So nung na-observe nila to, naisip nila or nakita nila na it's drifting again, right? The Claude MD is not enough. Tapos tinignan nila, nag-deep dive sila like, what's happening? So nakita nila, right, it's because bloated na yung file. And bloated na rin yung context window kasi as we know, Claude MD kasi inilalagay yun doon every chat turn. So, every time nagchat-chat ka, inuulit-ulit nilalagay yung Claude MD. Tapos tinignan nila ngayon yung Claude MD. They noticed like, hey, why don't we just separate the two things? Let's separate the main context kung saan nandun yung rules, yung frameworks, yung architecture, doon nilalagay, sabi nila, ilagay na lang natin doon, hiwalay natin. And then, those specific instructions na pinapaulit-ulit natin na gusto natin step by step sana sundin ni Claude, hiniwalay na lang nila at yun na yung Claude Skills. Okay, so now we know why Claude Skills exist. When should you create a skill? Okay, so generally, if you find yourself like repeating an instructions to Claude once or twice or 3 times, then that is a good candidate for a skill. For me, the best is for you to create your own baseline workflow first. Kasi once you have created your baseline workflow from end to end, it's easier for us to notice which part yung mga instructions na inuulit-ulit mo. And those parts are the best candidate to be created into a Claude Skills. So mga common examples nito includes like writing PRDs, review code, root cause analysis nga, what else? Like creating tests, all those great stuff. When should you not create a Claude skill? If it's generally naman ulit, if it's on the knowledge side, maganda ilagay mo na lang siya sa Claude MD. For example, mga frameworks nga, mga architecture, mga design principles na gusto mo, rules, right? Ilagay mo na lang siya doon sa Claude MD. And in Claude MD naman, pwede mo naman siyang i-nest. Ibig sabihin nun, when you have like a highly detailed architecture, for example, pwede mo naman ilagay din sa Claude MD mo na when it comes to architecture, this is what you should follow. And then you link the file na nandun yung more details sa architecture. That would work because that's easier para siyang index kaysa punuin ulit natin yung context window. And so that's if that's what you're trying to build, then you should create a Claude MD, not a Claude Skills. And if what you're trying to build is like a specific step-by-step instruction on how to do something at napapansin mo na inuulit-ulit mo siyang ginagamit, then those are prime candidates for Claude Skills. Now, I think it's also good for us to learn how does Claude use the skills kahit na yung brief overview niya or simple workflow lang niya. If you look at the structure of the skills file, makikita mo doon may parang front matter sila. Parang may quick description sila nandoon na section. That short description ang inilalagay sa context window lagi ni Claude. So every time you create a skills. This way, alam ni Claude na meron siyang ganitong skill para sa ganitong purpose. Pero wala pa doon yung buong mga instructions and everything. Now, during your conversation with Claude or pag directly mong trigger like at or forward slash pala, slash and then the skill name, pag trigger mo ng ganun, Claude would see like, okay, the user is pertaining to this skill kasi nandun siya short description niya. Then it's going to pull it from its, it's gonna pull that file and then add all of the context. That means the instructions, the tools, the context na nandun sa skill file, inilalagay niya na to ngayon sa context window niya. So, and then, pag nilagay niya sa context window, nilagay sa LLM, then the LLM would do the actions. So that's how, or the simplified version of how a Claude skills is being done. Or how Claude use Claude skills. So what are the key takeaways here, in my opinion? Just because you can create skills doesn't mean that you should. Because we don't want, of course, to over-engineer. Second, it still gets added into the context window. Third, there are still so many features dito sa Claude sa Claude Code na baka mas maganda kung yun ang gamitin mo. So there's lots of benefits there. So that's why it's good to always manage your Claude skills. And the suggestion is start with 2 or 3 Claude skills that are 2 or 3 instructions that you always repeat para and turn them into Claude skills. And then observe it like, am I really using it? Or maybe not, right? Maybe I should delete one. Or maybe I should create this instead. But at the same time, do not stop your creativity. Keep on experimenting. Just make sure that you prune and you do some management in the Claude skills that you're building. So I guess that's it. I hope this video was helpful and you have a wonderful day. Cheers.